Hello, my friends. Welcome back. I'm JC, and this is Grace Overflowing. In today's video, I want to do just a quick update and share how I've gotten additional information related to my last message, as well as share some details of some dreams that I've had recently that may connect, and how it all may connect with previous revelation that I have gotten and other watchmen have gotten related to number 717. So, with all that said, just to jump right into all this, I have gotten a lot of comments on my last video, people giving me information that I did not know. And to everyone who writes in, whether I get a chance to write back or not, I super appreciate it. I do see all of the comments, and they mean so much to me, especially when it comes to the sharing of information. So, one thing that I did not know about this 4-year anniversary that I spoke to in my last video, September the 23rd, is that it is the 7th month, the 17th day on the Jewish calendar. So it's Tishri 17. So ultimately that is 717. And I have spoken to this number in past videos. And as I've said, other watchmen have received this. One in particular I was not aware of until a brother Nolan, just to give you a shout out if you're watching, had shared with me another sister named Pearl Kolleri. And her channel name, it's spelled Kolleri. If any of you are interested in some of these insights and how she felt that the Lord had been revealing to her that rapture was in connection with this number, 717. And so as it relates to everything that I'd shared about the 4-year warning and the Revelation 12 sign, to on top of it all, to discover that this day, 9/23, is the 7th month, the 17th day on the Jewish calendar, just sort of blew my mind. And I wanted to be sure and share it with you guys. Now, moving on from there, also, several people had shared with me about another watchman that I had not heard of. His name is Jeffrey Magaha. It's Mcgaha. And forgive me if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but he has a particular theory about rapture on 9/23/24. I think he thinks it's kind of in the early morning hours between the 23rd and the 24th. And he has a very interesting story. I'll tell you, I haven't watched a lot of his videos, but there is one particular interview that I was able to give a listen to, and he sounds very sincere. He sounds like he is studied in the Word, and the revelation that he shares is related to a celestial event that is coming. The second part of Revelation 12, that second event that speaks to the dragon and the stars falling from the sky. And so, having not known any of this, this is all very interesting to me. As I have said, I've received 717 in connection with other words and moments. And so I wanted to share that with you first. After getting all of this information, I decided to look back and see the last time that I had been given this number. And interestingly enough, it pertained to a dream that I'd had where I was finishing a song that I had written. And most of you know that I'm a painter, but many of you may not know that I was previously a singer-songwriter and lived in Nashville for a long time. But I had written this song, and it was called Time to Think. And the funny thing about it is that's one of those songs that I never truly completed. And in this dream, I was working on completing that song. That's the song I was working on. And the lyrics of the song are super interesting and point to rapture in an unbelievable way. And it's really about told from a man's perspective after his bride leaves him with time to think. And some of the lyrics say, and I never thought she'd leave that night because she said she would before. I watched her pack but didn't see the light till she walked out that door. And then the song proceeds to talk about all the things that he doesn't have time to do. because he's obsessing over the loss of this woman and her leaving him. And he's not doing all of these very worldly man things that he used to really prioritize since his bride has left. And so I felt that was super interesting. And as I woke up that morning, I had closed my eyes for a second. I saw the number 17. And when I was journaling all of this that morning that this dream came, what's interesting is I heard 717 again in my spirit. And I've shared the Strong's meaning to this word before, which has always seemed super interesting. That the Hebrew word for that number listing in the Strong's Concordance means to pluck or gather, whereas the Greek word under that number means Armageddon. And so, you kind of see these two sides of a coin that I've kind of spoken to before, that, you've got the bride being snatched up, taken away, and then ultimately you have those remaining on earth that will be here through the tribulation leading up to that final battle of Armageddon. And so I've just always felt it was interesting. And so that was the last time I had received that number 717, and that came to me on June the 14th. And furthermore, as it relates to this notion of this celestial body that Jeffrey Magaha has spoken to, I hadn't given it a lot of thought, honestly, but I have had dreams of asteroids, and I haven't really shared about them because I haven't necessarily felt that the Lord was leading me to do so. But it is a reoccurring theme. And what is interesting is that one of the last dreams that I'd had was about an asteroid event. And after I listened to his video, and it's a long video, but I will say, if you're able to devote the time to watching it, he shares a lot of information, but not in a very linear way. You kind of have to listen through it to get the real idea of what it is that he's saying. He's an astronomer and has been studying astronomy for a long time. It sounds like he's got telescopes, and he's always looking up into the sky. And so he's seen this celestial body that he speaks to, and that he says that the Lord has given him specific revelation on. And so on this video, not only does he kind of give all of his information in a very indirect way, it's an interview, and I will link that video in the description box for anyone who's interested in seeing that. He describes that there's a lot of things going on, multiple potential planets involved and wings involved, and just a lot going on. But looking back at my notes, like I said, the second to the last dream that I had journaled was about asteroids, and I couldn't understand it. I didn't know what it was. I didn't think much about it. But after I watched his video and this came back to me, I really felt like, wow, maybe this is significant. And so I just want to put it out there. I'm not saying that, I know one way or the other that anything is going to happen, let alone, a cosmic event relating to the earth or even rapture. But it did tie in and seem to connect with some of the things I've been shown in a way that made me feel perhaps I should just put it out there for your prayerful consideration. So as I said, this dream came through on the 6th of September. I was in a skybox at night with my husband, and I had journaled that, the sky was looking almost completely dark, but not quite. That it looked to be the last part of the twilight hour. I said to my husband as I looked out of what seemed to be an open air box with no windows, I said, "This is a nice place to talk to God." Then suddenly, it's as if a dark curtain that wasn't previously there suddenly appeared in front of us, and it was pulled closed, but the fabric was hanging on what seemed to be a pole, and was only hanging from points so that it left holes up top to see out of. And so what it looked like is more or less this kind of connection point. So you've got the pole and, the fabric hanging at individual points. And I wrote, as I leaned in to look outside, I see two dark shadows falling from the sky. And as I looked closer, trying to figure out what they were, because they only seemed to be silhouettes, I saw fireballs or asteroids, many of them start to rain down to the right of the falling figures or objects. Then there was a scene change, and I only remember bits and pieces. I remember being in a wedding dress at some point, but also having on pants or jeans pulled down to my feet and trying to walk around in them. I remember trying to pull them up at one point, but they were too tight, and I realized I needed to change. All the while, I was being chased, or what felt like hunted. I had been in this house and seen earlier in the dream that some vehicle had driven past with army men or soldiers, and I felt that they were coming after me. And I didn't know whether to try to hide somewhere or run. The first thing I did was get myself under a desk with the desk chair pulled up to me, but I realized I could still be seen. So I came out, and that's when I remember trying to pull up and button the pants, but they were too tight. I remember feeling panic because that was a terrible time and circumstance to have to be worried about finding and changing clothes. So, what I didn't really document very well is that, as I said, at one point I was in a wedding dress with these pants on. And the next minute, when I was trying to pull them up, I was no longer in the wedding dress. And while I don't totally understand all aspects of this dream, there's obviously this notion of being caught with your pants down. And, I think that possibly this dream shows this duality that, you've got the bride of Christ in the wedding dress, and you've also got many who maybe think that they are the bride that have their pants at their ankles and, trying to walk around, and those, who will be left behind and who expect to be taken. And so, with all of that, I just want to put that out there. I had felt possibly that the Lord was stirring in me to share all of this. However, I wasn't certain, and I received a confirmation yesterday that seemed significant. And so I want to share that with you and why I arrived at this point, that this was at least something to put out there so you all can pray about it and at least be aware. Because like I said, I had no idea about a lot of what this watchman is sharing. And so I greatly appreciated the information. And so I thought you guys might as well. But yesterday I had gotten a little stirred up and had planned on doing a video that I wasn't planning to do. It was related to the mandate and how there are some mega pastors out there saying that there's no biblical claim for why a Christian would want, from a biblical perspective, to claim a religious exemption. And so I felt very impassioned to get on here and share the truth that there is absolutely a credible religious argument, and more specifically Christian argument, as to why someone would stand against this. However, as I sat here and proceeded to talk through this video, halfway into it, I thought, I think I can do better. And I stopped the video just to delete and start over again. And I was blown away, my friends, when I saw that the exact timestamp on the camera was 7 minutes and 17 seconds. And so I felt in that moment that obviously not only did I need to get this message out related to 9/23, this 4-year anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign that's coming up, and how it links to this number 717, the 7th month, 17th day on the Jewish calendar. And so I just felt that, in that moment, perhaps all of this mandate stuff, maybe it's not as important as, some of us may think. I've told you when we were looking at the reality of this that I believe that the Lord is up to something. And it is hard for me to even conceptualize that things will keep going in this direction without some major intervention. My friends, I truly believe that the Lord has revealed to me that He is on the move, and what is happening in this world, not only is He aware of it, but He's sovereign over it. And I truly believe that He has a plan. And I believe that He will intervene for His children. And I believe that He is going to be seen in a mighty way by a world that at large wants to deny Him, and a world that at large has been seeking after idols and not looking up for Him. So with all that said, my friends, I appreciate you watching. May the Lord bless you and guide you and fill you with His perfect grace overflowing.